Welcome to Real Deal Meetup, Duru Interviews. In every episode, we interview top real estate investors and entrepreneurs across the globe. Listen and learn to earn with insider tips, tactics, and strategies to bring real dealer success into your life. Here to show you how is your host, investor, published author, educator, and fellow Duru, Clifton McKnight.
Well, hello again, everybody. This is Cliff McKnight welcoming you to Duru Interviews with Cliff McKnight. Today we have the privilege of having Brittany Calloway come with us to share with you her journey, how she went in 1 year from introducing and feeling out the real estate enterprise industry and grew into independent real estate owner. She does rehab, private lending, and has earned over six figures in less than a year. So welcome to the line, Brittany.
Thank you so much for having me, Clifton. Happy to be here.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, just get started. I guess I gave that in there, but tell us a little bit about Brittany Calloway.
Yeah, absolutely. So what brought me to D.C., straight out of college, I did a program called Teach for America. So I actually taught in Southeast D.C. in Anacostia for about 2 years. I focused on special education, and from there, what I really took away was housing inequality and issues that people were having in terms of foreclosures and evictions, and so I was helping an intimate group of student families who were going through the foreclosure and eviction process. And from there, and doing research into real estate and wanting to learn more, I basically bought into a company that taught me the A to Z of real estate. And from there, I opened business, quit my full-time job. After teaching, I worked for a university for a year doing their budget analysis and was executive manager to the vice president of the college. From there, I ended up just quitting that job to do this full-time, which has been pretty awesome. Never looked back since.
It's exciting. You say you made a decision, you went and got some education, and then you implemented by starting a company and getting some things going, and then turned around and quit your job. Now, that on its surface sounds pretty straightforward. Yeah, that's what I did, but how in the heck did you start making money?
Yeah, so I actually teamed up with a guru in my area. I wanted to learn so badly how to do real estate that I would do anything to trade for that information. So this woman, I asked her, what do you need? I was willing to even take her phone calls while also working a full-time job just so I could learn the business. But because she knew I was so persistent and wanted to learn and wanted to be helpful, she actually kind of helped me with my first 2 wholesale deals. I call them wholesale, sort of, but I really just found the end buyers for her. Got, the profits that way, but they do count as wholesale. And from there, I decided that I was ready to, take on some bigger projects. And I found 2 projects in New Jersey from someone who I went to high school with, and they were rehab projects. And so we put contracts on them. We were ready to go. And because I was so excited and said, I have these 2 rehab projects, this is going to be my money for the year, I decided to quit my full-time job, which I did. And then literally maybe 2 weeks after I quit, the deals completely fell apart right when we were going to go to closing.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I ended up losing both of the deals, and I lost quite a bit of money on those deals.
Well, you sound pretty good. You don't sound like personally.
No, I'm not bitter about it. The guy and I haven't had the best relationship, the one who kind of, felt like I got a little scammed there. But it was a learning experience because, A, it made me realize I need to really step up whatever game I'm going to do because I need to pay my bills because I had just quit this, really stable 9-to-5 that I was doing.
And a decent paycheck?
Very decent. The university paid me very well. Yes. So I had to figure out what I was going to do to supplement that income, which was pretty decent. So so I wrapped ramped up everything. I was going to RIA meetings. I was talking to lenders. I was talking to wholesalers, really just trying to, leverage on someone else's system. And from there, I did do a couple of JVs to get me started. The JV partnership occurred because I was able to find the money for the deals. That was kind of my niche. So I found the private money, put the private money on the deals that I knew were really good, and then did a JV partnership. From there, I've now scaled up, and we are at 5 projects, counting in my head now, right? 3 in Ohio, 2 in New Jersey, and 6, 1 in Maryland.
That's right. I meant to say that in the intro. You actually are operating in all these different locations now, 5, 6 states, and you've only been in business for like a little over a year, or a little under a year, maybe.
Yeah, and the reason we're able to do that is because so another one of my strengths, I think I have 2, 2 really good ones. One is raising private funds. I'm really good at getting people's money. And the second one is I'm really all about automation. There are certain things in this business that I just don't like to do. And I'm very clerical and take a lot of time, administrative stuff. So I'm really good at developing the system and outsourcing it to virtual assistants to do. So now we have virtual assistants who are putting in close to, probably 20 good offers that we actually use a day. The leads are a lot more than that, but we probably put a solid 20 on each day. They're answering our phone calls. They're doing newsletters for the private money lenders that are loaning us deals. They, do a ton of administrative work to really help us, and they kind of also do the managing of the rehab virtually as well, which has been really helpful.
Wow. Well, Charles Blair talks about automation all the time. To hear someone taking it and putting it into action so rapidly is exciting and amazing.
Well, that's exactly where I got the idea from. So I've heard about virtual assistants for a very long time and hired one to just do offers, and then, heard Charles' presentation on different apps and different programs that allow you to automate your business. And from there, I am, now at the point where I'm actually even developing my own product with Charles on like consulting services on how to actually automate your entire business. So Charles has been instrumental in taking me from, just, medium automation to full-blown scaling up.
Wow.
So, very excited.
Oh, guess what, Brittany? We're going to be good friends. My goodness.
It's exciting. It is.
That is exciting, truly exciting. And I'll tell you, we have listeners at various levels. There are very seasoned investors who have somewhat of a system, but that may be really piqued by your conversation on automation, because it sounds like you're basically taking a good system and putting it on steroids, or just giving it that that rocket launch. And you got a couple of ideas that you can just say right off the top of your head?
First thing I think is to actually get offers in. So, I was a person at first who took forever. I was like, I don't know how much the repairs are. I don't know if the property's right. And my partner really told me, just put the offers in. Worst case scenario, you'll be able to negotiate it. So you really need to be doing something. So putting an offer. So that's one of the ways that I would, start getting started and having that automated by having someone. Once you know how to do it, go ahead and have a virtual assistant do it. I would also do automation probably, once the leads start really coming in on phone calls. So really being able to have someone take your phone calls, kind of weed out what properties make sense to actually go see, so you're not going traveling to see every property, but you know which ones make sense for you. And, they can kind of schedule appointments with the sellers so that you're able to meet with them and hopefully get a deal going.
Wow, that's really, it's clear to me that you have been doing it readily. That just flowed right on out of there.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that caught my attention that I think our listeners want to hear about is how did you become so rapidly such an expert at raising funds? What's one of your secrets? You don't have to tell the whole story.
Yeah. One of my secrets, I'm trying to think. I have a formula. I really do. The formula I guess I have is, I really do my research on who I'm asking for money. I invite them to my turf and making sure that the presentation is really good. And what I do in that presentation, I don't sell the deal itself. I really sell myself and the company, because the idea is that if everybody focuses on one deal at a time and get caught up, then people start to get worried, people start to get nervous. So I don't do it that way. I really have them buy into me first. And then I let them know, I say, hey, you know what, in the next, 48 hours, I'll find something that matches your criteria. And then I probably already have which deal I know I need to put them on, but they don't know that. You don't want to make it seem like you're urgent to get money. I let people know all the time, I have the money, we don't necessarily need it, but it's great if you invest. This is more about your future, you building your portfolio so that you can start to buy passive income properties and rental properties like myself. You want to really show them what their future could look like from investing with you. And then after that, after that, I go ahead and I tell them what the project is, and I give them the documents and say, this is the date we need to buy. And it's been pretty successful. So I use the same formula pretty much every time when raising private funds.
Well, that's excellent, and I'll tell you, you resonate with me significantly when you talk about essentially showing them how working with you is a benefit and a feather in the cap for them, because I believe in every dealing as much as possible. As you want to make it a win-win. I used to get overboard and sometimes that win-lose, that doesn't work either. But you just want to create an environment where everybody's benefiting.
Absolutely, and I should have mentioned that, because one of the real key to the formula is before I even ask for money, I really make sure that I've at least written down at least one thing that I'm going to help that person with their business. So whether they want a realtor, whether they want a recommendation for a virtual assistant, whatever the ask is, I have to do something for them personally, whether it's a, meet and greet email or giving them suggestions for something. But I have to do that first before I can even ask for funds. So, yes, it definitely is how can you help someone else's business first before really even thinking about your own.
Excellent.
Definitely.
Like what you hear? Head over to iTunes and rate and leave a review. Your feedback makes us visible to other Durus and is very much appreciated.
If you had to do it all over again, would you have done anything differently?
I always tell people who ask me that I really should have waited till I got in my first rehab deal under contract and, made some cash from a rehab before just jumping off the ship with a full-time job. That was being a little impulsive. But, it's a blessing and a curse, right? I really, was a little nervous on my finances. Luckily, I had some good savings, but it was dwindling kind of quick. But really pushed me to really take it to the next level. So it's hard. I do say I should have waited. I do recommend that people do wait sometimes, depending on their financial situation, before just quitting like that. But something I kind of wish I had waited a little bit longer, but, still some good perks, because it really lit the flame under me to get something done.
Right, and you did that.
So, exactly. So that's one thing I think I should have done a little differently.
Well, one of the things that seems to be a common theme as I grow in the industry is the conversation about JVs. We have just optimal possibilities, unlimited possibilities, even when you are open to working with others and facilitating their success and thereby magnifying your own. If someone wants to JV with you, for example, what kind of things would they need to bring to you, or someone that would make them appealing?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I really everybody talks about wanting to wholesale, and I think that is great. That is how you get started. That is how you rehab. But there are ways to stand out as a wholesaler that a lot of people are not doing. So, and a couple things I would say is to get together a credibility packet of yourself. Just who you are as a person, what your company stands for having a credibility packet for sellers, buyers, as well as potential lenders and JV partners, just so you can separate yourself and what your company brand stands for. Second thing I would say is that you really have to be open to learning about how to be a good wholesaler. And I use that phrase because the wholesaler I work with in Maryland was getting a lot of phone calls, from people saying, oh, your ARV after repair value is too high, it's inflated, I can't do this stuff. But nobody was really taking the time to show him how to actually evaluate numbers. And so him and I worked together. He had some great tools already, but we worked together to really make sure he had a really good package so that when he sends emails now to investors, people always open up his emails because it's very professional. And so the way to do that is to, make sure you have a good contractor on your team who can help you write a good repair estimate so that when you say it's $30K of repairs, do you really know that it's $30K in repairs? Do you have something detailed that kind of outlines what the repairs are going to be? Do you have comps that show that your after repair value is that? Don't just, pick a number and just put it out there when you blast it to everybody. That's wasteful time. So if you really have comps attached to the property, it just makes it stand out so much more. And there have been plenty of investors who literally go off those types of wholesale deals just based off the package that was given to them. So even if the numbers aren't even all the way right, it looks credible enough that people are, like, okay, this looks great. This looks like I have everything I need.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
You've
again,
given them enough information so that even if you're off a little bit, they have a lot of good information on which to draw.
Exactly, and they can do their due diligence, follow up, and make the tweaks the following. But because you've given a good package, you already stand out compared to people who just type, this is the number, this is the ARV, this is the estimated repairs. There are so many people that get so frustrated going to a house and seeing that you put down $30,000 for repairs and it really is $100,000. And it's like, how did you miss that number? And so, just having someone on your team who can also really assess repairs and, provide a good report. So when you seem knowledgeable of the property and of the system, that's someone who would stand out to me as a wholesaler, and I would definitely want to pick up your deal as a wholesaler and rehab it myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, listen, I would be remiss if I didn't come back to this being in 5 states. How does one build remotely? I have had conversations with a variety of investors over the years, and they're investors that say, Cliff, if it's not within 20 miles of my home, I don't want to know about it. And to others that say, everywhere I want to travel to, everywhere I want to be, I want some property there. So what is your secret for having property and being able to manage the projects?
Yeah, so some of the things that I do, I've really outlined a manual for me personally on the weeks and stages of a rehab. So week 1 is the demolition and who needs to be called to do the demolition. And so virtual systems kind of help me do that aspect of it. All the way down to, now we're going to list the property. What does that look like that needs to go to the realtor, et cetera. So those systems are really outlined, and that's how virtual systems have been able to help me virtually manage the rehab in different states. And
so that's part of what you'll have available, I guess, down the road here.
Yes,
so.
absolutely. And then the leads really just come from good networking. I guess that's also another strength is, really taking the time to see what people have to offer in terms of their leads and really making sure that there's clear communication about what I need from them and what they need from me. And so we haven't really done marketing in New Jersey or Ohio because the leads have been coming from people so far, and it just worked out really well. All you need is one good one who really takes the time to find leads for you, and if they're really good each time, you keep using them. So that's kind of what has been happening so far, which is pretty lucky for us.
So it
But
sounds like you're
yeah.
saying, all right, so let me just run this back. You're marketing and networking, actually networking. Through networking, you find good people, and when you find a good person, you plug them into your system and have your VAs perhaps take it through the process. But you have someone there that fills in one of your gaps. I guess JV gap might be that they find the deals. They're good at that. Now, in terms of your contractor, you have a contractor in each of these states that is tried and true, or are you doing some experimentation?
No, yeah, they're trying to. We basically we use them every time. We've had our share of contractors that haven't been okay, and we do a really good vetting process when picking contractors. We have like 6 critical documents that we kind of walk them through, and there's at least 3 meetings and an interview, so it's very a pretty rigorous process to begin with. But yeah, the contractors that we meet, at the end of the day, these are people too, so we really explain to them why we need the things done that we need. Like if I come to the site, it should always be clean, and that's because if I bring investors, they want to loan on more projects, that's more business for you. And we take our contractors to lunch and dinner and say, what are your goals for the year? How many are you trying to rehab? What's your financial goals? How can we help you reach that?
Wow, you are gifted.
So really,
yes.
So really just taking the time to understand what our contractors want and need so that we can make sure that we're helping them reach those goals. And now, the guy in Ohio has told my business partner too multiple times, like, I'm ready to just do you all. Like, just be with you all. Forget everybody else. Like, you guys pay me on time. You ask for what you need very clearly. And we have good business relationships. And so, yeah, he's very much like, if we keep the work going, keep the work coming for him, which is what we're trying to do now. That's why we have 3 projects in Ohio. We're going to keep, trying to get one a month. He's ready to just leave everybody else and just work with us. So really taking the time to develop relationships with people so that, again, just helps your business.
Your audio recipe for real estate success. www.duruinterview.com.
Yes, you were talking about how you have contractors who just want to spend time just with you now because their experience of working with you has been very positive. Give me a couple of thoughts. You did tell me that you find out what their goals are, and you tell them why they need to keep the area clean or why they need to do some of the things they need to do. I guess to clarify why the timetable is what it is. Is there any last comment on that before we go into real rapid success?
Just, really being thorough with what you want and need. You can't show up to a job site seeing cigarette smoke, cigarette buzz all over the job site and be upset if you didn't tell the contractors not to smoke. So really just making sure that you go through the expectations with your contractor so that when something happens, that you've already kind of thought through those preventative measures. So you guys are in constant communication with one another.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely.
Okay, well, good. Well, it's time for real rapid success.
Real dealers. It's time to play real rapid success.
First question I want to ask you, and we're going to run these questions down. It's about 4 or 5 questions, about 5 questions actually. And the kind of fast question, short answer, and certainly give people an opportunity to pique their interest and they want to get more of how to get in touch with you on this. So what is your favorite strategy for finding deals?
Yep, I think mine is networking. It really has been helpful. I don't really do a lot of direct mail campaigns or bandit signs in my area, even though those do work. Mine is really networking with people and figuring out what I can do to help their business and how they can help me. And so even if people say, hey, I know someone in real estate I think you should talk to, I always follow up to find out who that person was, because you just never know what someone could add to your business and what you could potentially add to someone else's. So networking is my favorite. Okay.
Your favorite book? Can you give us a book that would be great for the audience to read?
Yeah, my favorite book is actually The E-Myth. It basically tells you how to go from being a technician within your business to operating as a manager and then being an entrepreneur. So you start to really let go of those clerical and administrative tasks so that you can focus on your business and how to expand it.
Okay, E-Myth. That's Gerber. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. So here's another one for you, and this one kind of really comes deep from me. You may know I wrote the book, If You Can't Calm the Waters, Learn to Ride the Waves. Well, frequently people on their journey will run into that tidal wave or that turbulent circumstance that really sort of knocks them off guard, and it can take some people out. You know, they give up the business or whatever. Tell us how you've had a difficult time, and even use the one you mentioned before if you'd like, but how you were able to transmute it to your advantage as opposed to holding you down or out.
Yeah. So it definitely was a negative situation. You know, this guy told me he was going to be able to provide funding for me, and it ended up that he wasn't really the funder, and they ended up backing out of the deal right before we were going to close on these two properties. And so it really left a bad taste in my mouth because I was really excited. I had it all lined up, and it kind of all fell through. But, you know, you take those situations and you turn it into a positive because now moving forward, I'm very careful and do my due diligence about people who are going to loan me money. And I really just make sure that there's constant communication happening so that I know what the other person needs and what they need from me. So I really create a process out of it, yeah.
You know, I have
so
to
it was
say,
a blessing and a curse, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say from the sidelines looking in, it was a huge blessing because now you are the queen of funding. You find funding and it's no problem for you.
Yeah, no more hard money lenders, really just private money moving forward.
Okay. Well, what advice would you give to anyone wanting to kind of get where you are? There's a question for you.
Yeah. Advice that I would give is that one thing is so funny. You know, I just talked to a woman about a week ago talking about Charles, and I said that, you know, I don't understand how Charles gives out so much of his free information. Isn't he afraid that someone like me who takes everything that he says and applies it, isn't he afraid that we could eventually be in competition? Like, we're not in the same market. We're in different markets in Ohio, different markets in Florida. But, yeah, isn't he nervous? And so the girl said, well, when you think about it, in a room full of 50 people, 30 people are going to actually write down what it was that he said the full correct way from A to Z on how to do something. About 15 people are going to actually research it. Maybe about 5 people will actually look into it and, who knows, even maybe purchase whatever it was to help them. But one person is only going to implement it successfully. So my advice would be to try and be that one person in the room who actually implements it. And you can't get everything because Charles gives away so many things. But if you're going to pick something, make sure you know how to do it from A to Z and implement it right away. That would be my advice.
Okay, here's a last question for you because you've given us a great deal. I want to thank you. Do you have like one piece of advice or a resource or a tool that you really want others to take away with them?
Yeah, I think to get people started on virtual assistants, they can go to a site called Odesk or eGlance in order to find people who they can start outsourcing those, administrative tasks to. That would be my resource. And when using them, virtual assistants, student interns, contractors, lenders, builders, I want people to really have a mindset of something I tell, high school students who ask me, oh, I want to make 6 figures like you do in real estate. How is it possible? And I really have to tell people that I'm not in the business of making money or getting a check. And I have to pause and let that kind of take note and reminisce of people, let that sink in, because I'm actually in the business of helping people. So when I help other people who I work with grow their business, their goals, my business automatically elevates. So I really take the time to put people first, because when people are happy with your service, people will do business with you and refer other people to you. So that would also be my piece of advice when it comes to your mindset, is when you're looking at people, how you can help them first. Yeah.
Brittany, thank you very much. I mean, this was really content rich. I mean, everything from the very beginning when you tell people to say, just put the offer in.
Yeah.
And then you talk about teaching the VAs how to do it and automation. I mean, just from there on in, you just gave us so much. I want to thank you, folks. Be sure you can play this over and over again. Put your pen and paper in hand or computer and whatever you need to do to listen, take notes, and be part of that number one, that one person that takes the insight, the information, and puts it to use. How do they reach you? How can they get in touch with you if they want to, if somebody wants to learn more, maybe even to take advantage of the package you're putting together?
Sure. My cell phone number, my business cell phone is 202-888-DEAL. So pretty easy to remember, but in numbers it's 202-888-3325. And then easy to remember. And then my email address is CEO@topnotchpropertysolutions.com. CEO@topnotchpropertysolutions.com. Yep, that's me.
We'll talk again. You have been outstanding. This is
Thank
Cliff
you
McKnight
so much
saying,
for having me.
Oh, yes, that's all right. Cliff McKnight saying, if you can't calm the waters, learn to ride the waves.
We hope you've enjoyed today's shows. For show notes, videos, updates, tools, and resources, plus free Real Deal Meetup membership, visit realdealmeetup.com, the place where it's awesome to be a duru and not a guru.